The Ghana Police Service has secured a restraining order against the planned demonstration this Sunday by the Fix the Country movement. The statement announcing the order comes on the back of a meeting between the group and top government officials, including the Ministers of Defense, Interior, National Security, Finance, Foreign Affairs, and the Attorney General and Minister for Justice, as well as other senior government officials, at which the police is said to have cited the current restrictions on public gathering for their inability to provide security for the march. The statement from the police reads: The High Court under Justice Ruby Ayete has restrained conveners of the Fix the Country protest march from embarking on a planned demonstration slated for Sunday, 9th May 2021, or any other date until the restriction on public gathering is lifted. The restraining order follows an affidavit filed by the police against conveners of the Fix the Country protest march pursuant to Section 16 of the Public Order Act 1994-491. The Accra Regional Police Command is hereby drawing the attention of the general public, especially organizers or conveners of Fix the Country protest march, that the associates, officers, agents, assigns, and workmen to the restriction order and compliance. A copy of the order is attached. It is signed by Efia Tenge, who's the Deputy Superintendent of Police and the Head Public Affairs Unit of the Accra region. Now, Joy News has intercepted a copy of the letter the group sent to the police after the police said they were not going to provide security for them and could potentially seek a court order against the demonstration. My colleague Kweku Asante joins me with a copy of this letter. Hello, Kweku. So I'd want you to take us through this letter that the group sent to the police and some of the highlights in there and why they argue that this demonstration should go ahead nonetheless.
Right. So, according to this letter that was addressed to the Accra Regional Police Command, these protesters are saying that they cannot accept, and I'm quoting, we cannot accept the instrument that the instrument provides the police with the authority to deny requests for the exercise of rights under Article 21D and F of the 1992 Constitution on the basis of the stated reasons. In the interest of fairness, we have strenuously tried to find any other legal instrument, including acts of parliament, executive instruments, which perhaps purport to grant the police the power to deny requests for the exercise of the rights under Article 21D and F of the Constitution, despite the clear instruction from the Supreme Court. And so they continue that there's an EI 395, which is the imposition of restriction that has been imposed by the president. According to that EI, the public gatherings that have been banned include beaches, festivals, pubs and bars, including hotels, funerals, cinemas and movie houses, nightclubs, large political gatherings and rallies. They say that, however, being aware of the purpose, legislative history, and the gloss that is inconsistent with the application that has been written onto it, we are unable to agree that the expression large political gatherings and rallies applies to the proposed march. The planned march is not a political gathering or rally, and therefore would not have come within the ambit of the restrictions imposed. Regarding this purpose, legislative history and the gloss that is inconsistent in the application that has been written in it, we note that it is clearly from its adoption, the part on political gatherings and rallies was targeted at the same rallies and gatherings by political parties which were held with impunity throughout the country sometime around December 2020. And so they are saying that this imposition of restrictions does not apply to them. But Israel, they make other very, very important reasons. They say, for instance, that we note, however, that throughout December 2020, political parties exercise their rights under the same constitutional articles, reference Article 21D and F, to hold massive political gatherings and rallies. Yet the EI was not applied or understood to apply to them. What we understand by government's own action is that through its application of EI 395, this does not apply to them. They go on to say that according to the information minister and the Ghana Health Service boss, the political gatherings that were held prior to 2020 election did not contribute to the surge in coronavirus cases, and so they do not think that this rally or this gathering that they want to hold will contribute to that. And actually, if you permit me, let me quote what they say. They say that, for instance, the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumabwaje, has made it clear that there is no evidence that open-air gatherings cause or contribute to the COVID-19 numbers. In the words of the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, quote, the political rallies happening in the open air, where there is proper ventilation in such situations, the risk of infection is low, and they attach a link to that. Israel.
Kweku Asante with that letter from the conveners of the Fix the Country demonstration, which has been slated for this Sunday. We've also been joined by Hadi Yakubu of the Comic Fighters League, who are part of this movement. Thank you very much, Mr. Yakubu. I'm sure you'd have become aware of this restraining order secured by the police against this march. Is it safe to say your march will be put on hold in compliance with the order?
Yeah, thank you very much, Israel.
Yes.
And good evening to you and good evening to your numerous listeners. Yeah, we've received the restraining order from the court, and we have made some statements that yes, we've received the restraining order, and as law-abiding citizens, we take notice of it and we abide by it. But that does not mean that we are going to allow any of these maneuverings by the powers that be to prevent us from exercising our right. And as you know...
All right, but in one breath, you just indicated that you are complying with it as law-abiding citizens, but then you're also saying that you're not going to allow it to curtail your movement. Please explain.
Yes. So the reason for saying that is that there are other avenues that that are also open to us,
such as
in the Republic, to for instance, we can apply to the court, exercise our own right in that regard to set aside this injunction. So as I said earlier, there is no intention to defy a court order as law-abiding citizens, but there are so many other ways that we intend to make clear to the public in the coming hours, this evening and tomorrow morning. But you see, Israel, we need to be very clear that this has been in the works. We've seen several efforts since this protest, on social media began. Several efforts to curtail the movement of the people towards a certain converging point that amplifies their frustrations and makes their demands louder than the noises that are in the system. For instance, first of all, when the Fix the Country hashtag started trending for days, we saw that hashtag that came out saying that we should fix ourselves. So fix yourself hashtag. That was, I think, the very first attempt to derail this genuine movement towards young people's aspirations to see a better society. Then came, all manner of shenanigans, including forging even letters. This afternoon, somebody forged a statement on our letterhead saying that we had dissociated ourselves from the organizers of the movement, because we said that we did not say that it was a fake thing. Then first of they came with some other forged budget. claiming that it was. So these are, and then they called a meeting to go and meet the IGP, which they then diverted to Ministry of National Security to try and get us to back down. And when all these didn't work, that was when they then went to court. On our blind side, you would notice that this court
was an ex-parte motion.
Yeah. You know, and that's one of the things, one of the arguments that
all right.
Lawyers...
You've also indicated that you intend to go to court to set this aside. But I want to find out what happens if all else fails.
Israel, the people have so many ways to express their disgust as a system. We do not think that even the court has the right to perpetually take away
but once the court rules, once the court rules, you really don't have a choice, do you?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that the court itself is aware of the limitations of its powers to perpetually curtail the right, inherent right of the people.
In other words, even if it's not allowed on Sunday, you intend to hold it subsequently?
We intend to hold several ways, several protests, you know, not necessarily demonstrations. There are so many ways that protests can be done in Israel, and discussions are ongoing, and we'll come out with the next steps. But one last thing I would just like to say is that, you see, Kwame Nkrumah said that people, when change is long denied, or the rights of the people are suppressed to the extent where they can no longer bottle it up, they've had it to the neck, to their neck, then things start to happen that people cannot control. So in order for us not to get there, it is important for our people, our leaders, to take notice and allow the young people of this country to begin to shape the destiny of this country for the society. They will be gone very soon. We will be there to face the consequences of their actions.
Noted.
And we will not allow them to destroy our future for us.
Noted, Hadi Yakubu. Now, legal practitioner and host of Newsfile, Samson Ladi Ayeni, joins me with his thoughts on the restraining order obtained by the police and the options available to the conveners of the demonstration. Thank you very much, Samson, for joining us. Now, what do you make of this restraining order?
Standard practice, the law allows for one party in a pending matter to go to court and seek, by way of ex parte injunction, that is going on the blind side of the other party, to seek an injunction order against them. In the Public Order Act, which regulates public events, including demonstrations, special events, including demonstrations, it is specifically provided that if the 5 days notification is served by organizers to the police, and the police have reason to indicate to the organizers that they are unable to provide security or protection, then the organizers have within 48 hours to get back to the police to indicate whether they will go with the police, or they will take some other step. And if that happens, and the organizers indicate that they are unable to go along with the police, then the only way for the police is to go to the court and secure an order to stop them from proceeding. Now, the court has held Justice Dennis Ajay sitting as an additional High Court judge when he was in the Court of Appeal, when Let My Vote Count Alliance were seeking to do a demonstration against the Electoral Commission for a register. The police went to court and sought and procured an injunction ex parte against them. And they challenged that injunction in the High Court. And Justice Ajay held. I'd like to read that to you and tell you the bizarre thing you are seeing in this particular injunction order.
All right.
It's very strange. It's not standard and clearly not sound and backed by law. Justice Dennis J. held that any action initiated ex parte under the Public Order Act is void. Void means it doesn't exist at all. It's void. And it is void as it is filed contrary to law and procedure and would constitute a breach of the rules of natural justice. It would be unfair to use an ex parte application to initiate an action whose outcome would affect the rights of other people, and once it is granted, the action terminates. Such a crude approach, I repeat, such a crude approach should not be encouraged in a democratic society, as the police in their ex parte application may depose to false information, which may persuade the court to grant the application. So Israel, standard practice is that even where ex parte applications are allowed, it is granted for a limited time, and the limited time as provided in our law is for 10 days. 10 days. Now, to have an ex parte injunction granted, even in a place where we know that by this very sound decision of Justice Dennis J., an ex parte should not be entertained. An ex parte is actually void. It's not allowed by the law in the manner that the police have been doing. For the court to grant ex parte and say that they cannot organize their intended demonstration on Sunday and not any time thereafter until and unless the restrictions on the on public gatherings are lifted. Look, the law passed by Parliament, very lousy legislation passed by them, which empowers the president to issue restrictions, is not pandemic specific. All over the world, they have passed pandemic specific legislation, which legislations die as long as the pandemic dies. This one, we have passed it as a substantive law. So it is pandemic neutral, and anybody can use it for eternity. So if you say until it is over, it means that what you are giving could actually be in perpetuity. And that is where I think that if they went back to the court, they will get the court to vacate this order, because this order does not comply with the sound principles of law as even enunciated by the Supreme Court. According to the Supreme Court, you can't grant an ex parte injunction and make the order appear as if there is no limit to the order. So this is bizarre, this is strange, and it ought not happen to the exercise of the democratic right. And one thing we must pay attention to is that across the globe, while they are doing impositions, the impositions do not affect the exercise of a right to demonstrate. That's why you saw people pour out on the streets in America and elsewhere, and they are not being told that there's an imposition of restrictions.
Yeah, the Black Lives Matter movement.
Exactly.
All right. Now, something. So you're saying essentially that they should go to court. You're encouraging them to go to court to try and set this aside.
The only way out is to go to the court. The fact that something there's been a travesty doesn't mean that they should also use an unconstitutional and illegal means.
All right. Thank you very much, Samson Ladi Ayenini. He's a host of Newsfile. He's a legal practitioner, host of Newsfile.